All right. Hello. Welcome everyone to the HEX Happy Hour Show. It is a bright day.
It is.
In HEX
glorious
land. And in PulseChain land. It's quite wonderful. Even this is the most productive I've been all week because I've had a certain illness that should not be named that somebody right below me had a little while back in a different city.
Tears.
But, oh my gosh, you came out of it with fire, brother. So how are you doing, Funny Jim?
If there was ever a fucking Captain America serum that was really going to happen, that shit happened to me. I don't know what the fuck.
I'm looking forward to it.
I talked to aliens. I fucking had a miserable experience. I very much, I 100% believe that I had COVID and I feel awful about it.
Yeah.
I got tested. The test said no, but I definitely feel like something happened to me because the vaccine, the COVID synchronicity or whatever that fucking thing was, I came out of it 120% at first. And now I'm on fucking fire. Like I'm talking to billionaires constantly about all the shit that is coming online with HEX and with Pulse. That I mean, people that had never been around crypto. I tapped some of these people that I knew from before and some new associations. This shit is going to go off the fucking chain in the next 18 months, dude. It's going to be amazing.
18 months, way sooner than that.
Yeah,
I mean, the arc is going to be like, dude, like this.
We're gonna pass Ethereum within a month.
Whoa!
Oh, the curtain of fucking
I don't even know what's going on. I'm not even looking.
It's happy hour as I drink my water.
I'm gonna tip my shit back up.
Oh.
I wasn't even watching. I just heard a bunch of screaming.
with Tom, the private jet pilot guy, he's got a billionaire employer and shit like that. He's a Pulsian. I mean, Tom is. Tom put in significant money. Anybody out there in crypto land that says these people are speculating with a couple of bucks, Tom put in his money where his mouth is with Pulse, and he's talking to these people that are hedge fund all the time, hedge fund people, billionaire people, legacy people about HEX, about Pulse, about and they're already crypto people. The only reason that they didn't buy into HEX, they know about HEX, but the only reason that they didn't buy into it because they deal with the stuff that you can get on Coinbase, on Gemini, on they can't put institutional money into things that are HEX at the moment, right? So they put their personal money in. They may be Hexicans and Pulsians and things like that personally, and I think that Pulse can really potentially break through into that hedge fund, speculative stock market cash flow, Fed money from helicopters world.
Traditional finance.
Yeah. All that shit, dude.
Yeah. The easy way to describe it. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, what's up, chat?
I got my bags packed. I mean,
yeah. And five legends now with Freddie Quotes in the house, even though he's frozen again. What happened? All right. Let's bring it back. There we go. Okay.
When he comes back. When we went off camera, and it's not private, so I can share it. But so I have this thing I'm going to go to in November in Kiyosaki's house in Scottsdale. And so if any Hexicans want to basically ride on a private jet, it's a Challenger 300, so it's like it can sit 11 people, I think. As long as the billionaire is on the plane, then it's then they can do it without any papers. And so he says, my friend Tom says that the guy also has a house in Scottsdale and probably very highly likely will allow us to ride with him, right? To Scottsdale from Miami. The plane will be getting some maintenance in Miami. And then pretty much right after that is the event in Scottsdale with Kiyosaki. And he just wants to network. He says, hey, yeah, just ride along with us and with him. And just network with all these people that are kind of in the financial space already that he already kind of knows. So if you're going to be potentially, or if you want to DM me later, one, if you're going to be potentially an LLC member with the HEX University real estate play, two is at least if you're going to be in Miami in like November or can be, then I think we need to have an Instagram fucking experience. We need to have a YouTube experience. We need to punch through on our different channels and show kind of the lifestyle that Hexicans can achieve.
Yeah, I like that. I like showing that.
I know you do. You're really kind of the first display guy of us. So we're all like practical fucking elders. They're like, no, let's be pragmatic. Let's make sure that shit compounds even more. And you're like,
No,
let's show a little bit here.
I'll show y'all how to ball a little bit. I mean, I know you know how, but I mean, I'm enjoying it for the moment. Like I said, I got my bags all packed here. You know, I'm ready to go with the little bellhop over here and all the Louis Vuitton over here.
Clearly, Kirk, you did not listen to Funding Jim's first stream back about not spending your HEX on.
I didn't have to
such
spend
things.
this has been a hell of a bull run, man. This has been a hell of a bull run.
Okay.
What about my expensive Chinese candelabra?
Oh, I love it, man.
Yeah, it's real nice. Yeah. Like it like spins because it doesn't really, anchor down properly, and it's awesome.
Does it melt under flame? Is it plastic? What is that fucker?
No, it's no, it's stripless candles. I was talking about it earlier. So there's two different wax. You have a faster burning wax in the core than the outside, so it creates a cavity where the wax sits until it's burned off, so it doesn't drip anywhere.
I love it.
Yes, awesome. Ross Hex, the human body is resilient. Sorry, Motley. I just wanted to give a shout out to this comment because, yeah, man, I know Gary knows, and I'm living proof because this, like I said, this is the most activity I've done all week. I did not talk to aliens, but I woke up legit twice, like 2 days in a row, not knowing where I was. So I'm pretty sure we have the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just zaps your energy mentally and physically. I still have like aches and stuff, but I feel so much better. Too. Yeah.
Well, I never had body aches. I had about 2 hours in the week where I was 100-degree flat, but most of the time I was 98.6.
Oh, I never had. See, I was like 102 to 104.
No, I never had that. I mean, and Hex Monkey kept checking me every 20 minutes. It was a little bit annoying. But and then I had delirium. I really thought that the Tic Tac that those fucking jet fighters talked to, the aliens that were over fucking Norfolk or something, I think they visited me, and they said, whatever the religious Catholic kind of statement from from aliens would be, they said, invest in HEX. Make sure that you participate in Pulse. Listen to the fucking god of crypto, which is Richard Hart. And so I came out the other side, fired up, and I gotta participate in this thing, man.
Yeah.
I just got the body aches, headache, fever, and then the respiratory issue. I never got the loss of smell or taste or anything like that, but everything else awful.
Yeah, I think it just varies upon the person.
Which is very weird.
It's so strange.
It's lab grown or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I really hope you guys I hope you guys get the super soldier version because
I already put in a donation to the sentence. That was nice. We're getting right into the meat of the heat of the meat. Freddie's here to start.
Yeah, Freddie's like
real talk.
Freddie's
bags are nice.
Freddie's
going on with this Pulse here.
Moonboy talk is cooler than the flu. I think.
Well, Freddie's like, fuck the socialization. Let's get down to how we're making money.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Well, speaking of making money, let's turn it over to Kirk. And what do we have here, Kirk?
Oh, we've got we got 3 pieces here, actually. 2 Louis pieces and this Toomey piece here. And now that the funny thing is first of all, the Louis pieces, this acid wash Louis piece that was a hot commodity here in Puerto Rico here that I picked up at the Louis store. Fantastic. Now this other one though that I'm a big fan of, this Nigo here, is a drip Nigo cross Louis collaboration, which is a super beautiful piece. And this is Nigo's a Japanese artist as well, so a super unique, cool piece. Now the truth of the matter behind all of this stuff is that you can spend all this dough on these 2 bags right here, on these 2 bags, or you can get this Toomey here for 1/8 of the price. And this Toomey right here has considerably more, by the numbers, you can fit more in it. You can do suits in it. You can fit all of the stuff that you need to fit in it is possibly in here, without any problems, and takes really nice care of it. Whereas this stuff, you really can't. I mean, the Louis bag's nice. Don't get me wrong. I did but you can't fit. It's you can't fit very much in there. Yeah, there he is. Yes, sir. But this Toomey, man, let me tell you, it's got the double locks on each side. You know, there's like a front zipper. There's this next zipper here. You know, there's great places for me to be able to store, you know, my boxes of Louis Vuitton bandanas, you know, in case we need to, you know, we'll get into more of those later sometime. But yeah, so anyways, we've got 3 fantastic pieces that you can have here for, like I said, these 2 Louis pieces for the insane sum of like $8,500. Or you can have this guy for $850. And I'd say the $850 considerably more reasonable overall. I mean, utilitarian, also gets the job done, you know, also does look nice too, you know, but not as nice as this drip pattern here. This is just incredible, you know. We got anything like that? No. Took me a minute to find that. Anyways,
all right, guys.
To everybody else.
Was that the official?
Big K and Gary are fucked up right now with all that cash when it could be in Hex right now, earning them insane gains.
That's right.
So
don't
do what they do.
Don't
be
me. No,
wait a minute.
Inflation that actually doesn't go to you.
I gotta clarify.
Go ahead.
One is Big K, whatever his story is, he can tell his own narrative. For me, right after Hex or the Vegas thing, it fucked me up, right? But pretty much right after I felt like I was recovered. So I believe the Mike Maloney and the Peter Schiffs and shit like that in 2010. Andy Scheckman, all these people that were talking about silver and gold. And I was working cardiology, 2 different facilities, 60, 70 hours. I put around $300,000 of my own money savings into silver. I had like 5,000 ounces accrued of like American Silver Eagles and maples, Canadian maples and shit like that. Now, Kurkowski has been in the silver business. He's had an industry lifestyle or life around silver and metals and platinum and shit like that in his normal kind of career. I talked to that guy a year ago and I said, this motherfucking investment is so flat. I've had this shit for 10 years. If we're going to have the zombie apocalypse, then why hasn't it performed? Right. Yeah. So right after, and I was planning to do it before, I just couldn't get back to California where I had my pirate treasure shit. And then I got back to California right after the Hex event. And I went with an SUV and I put shit on Craigslist and I sold around 200 grand worth into cash. And I just haven't had the chance to convert it into Hex. I'm doing Hex in the way that I can. Right. And it is because I was somewhat silly with my narrative in 2010 and 11, and I bought into silver back then, and it did this whole thing. And real estate, I've done really well with real estate. I've done well with startups and investing in Silicon Valley kind of stuff. But the number one investment in my entire life has been Hex, and will be continue Hex decades to come. So I'm very excited to flash a little cash that is not Hex sale of gains. It is going into Hex.
I mean,
I feel like somebody
my Hex flex on that is just that I went to Vegas with all that dough and then I didn't spend any of it. I didn't spend like any of it. So I mean, so here it is back here and back in the bag. So I mean, that's not too bad.
So Kurkowski, can you confirm that a year ago, before Hex was half a penny, I was talking about selling that silver shit?
Oh yeah, we were both talking about selling the silver. I sold mine as well. I waited. Same thing as you. I was like, well, whatever. You know, I put a lot into Hex, but I didn't sell my silver holdings until now. Until probably about a month ago, I sold all of the. I had paper silver, so it was a lot easier for me. It was like this.
See, I couldn't exit.
Sell that shit, and then that guy was like,
I kept asking you, who can buy 5,000 ounces of silver, and who believes in the narrative? And you were like, pretty much nobody.
I don't have a person. My person was just the deposit company that one of the. I won't even give them the credit here, but they just called him up and was like, "Yo, sell my silver," and then it was a lot easier when you were like, "I'm driving around selling silver." I was like, "Damn, Gary."
Yeah, that's how you get robbed. Selling your like thousands of ounces out of the back of your SUV. That's how you get shot.
I needed to dump that shit. I had.
Hey man, you want to buy 1,000 ounces? Just like
I used to do that with catalytic converters all day long. We'd be out the back.
I had like 1,000 1962 quarters. I had 5,000. I had 10 monster boxes, right? Yeah. And so these guys would become, I put it on Craigslist and they'd say, "Hey, I'll give you 17 grand or 18 grand or whatever the price was." And again, the premium from like AppMex and stuff like that was more. And I just wanted to liquidate. I need to get out of California. I'm selling real estate in California. I'm converting everything into Miami and Puerto Rico. So these guys would be like, okay, I'm going to come with 17 grand, 18 grand or whatever to come buy a monster box of 500 coins. And I open up the SUV at the beginning of the week and they're like, what the fuck? You have 200 grand worth of shit sitting here. I was like, yeah, you want to buy? Come on, yeah. I got your shit. Buy your meme.
I got what you need. You can
That
call
takes
me.
cojones.
You're looking for another. Give me a call. You got a buddy? Give me a call.
Gary, I'll tell you what, man. I've watched hours and hours and hours and hours, 10s, 20s, 100 hours of you stream. And, bro,
Yeah.
I've never seen you like this. You're a different person, bro.
Dude, my
You're a different
pragmatism,
person.
my caution,
Aliens.
my fucking
Yeah, right.
the aliens, and it's the vid and the alien serum.
Right.
Fucking Tik Tok, whatever Atlanteans are coming up and fucking talking to us. I don't know what's happening, man.
Let's get Cabana's channel pulled down. Let's go.
Gary was cloned. This isn't even the real Gary. It's a
I would
different
like
Gary.
this alien stuff with me first.
This is
Right?
the,
Yeah. Can I get a
wait
hit of that?
This is the 32-year-old Gary. The Gary that used to go to the Playboy Mansion, the Gary that used to be fucking power networker. I put that shit aside like 7-8 years ago. And I just said, let's just like play this out, whatever, normal. And then now Hex and Richard and you guys as a community has fucking fired me up, man. It's
That's
amazing.
awesome, man.
I'm excited about it, man. I'm
love it,
excited
bro.
because you got a bunch of great ideas, and I think that it's going to be beneficial to not just you, but everybody, really. So
Yeah.
I think there's. I'm excited to see you as fired up as you are.
Yeah. I got the chip injection. Yeah, they did some kind of implant up my ass or whatever it was.
I mean, if that's what you get out of it, is
that where it goes?
Is a fire in your ass like this?
Motley's like, where do I sign up?
Up a couple of me, man. I'm down. Let's do
fucking
that.
Hex, man. Yeah.
It does give you a natural high, man. Staker app. Good Lord. The serotonin pumped into my brain from Staker has just been insane this week.
Did you catch the stream with Steph? I did a Steph interview for about an hour, 2 hours ago.
I need to catch that, man. You were on like all day today, weren't you? You
I
had
did a
a
bunch of
couple
stuff.
streams going on.
Yeah. Somebody just said
He's
they
a
caught
new man.
3 back-to-back streams with you, man.
He's a new man.
Yeah.
I did watch both of the Richard streams.
Yeah.
I
I was in the middle of that. I was in the middle of the and I had to catch the first one was Steph for about an hour. He again, he's in Paris, so his time zone's different. And you guys, when you see Steph Staker app's next version, where it's about investing into your lifestyle, investing into your house, instead of number go up and ledger and just kind of the weird thing that humans interact with numbers, it's gonna be great, dude. Staker app version 2 is amazing.
You set dreams, right? Like it's like college fun out here. Buy a house out here. Buy your new car out here. Like that's how it's gamifying the app a lot more.
That's a lot. That's awesome.
Even more addictive.
Any idea when that's going to roll out?
It seems like it's going to release soon. I mean, he's going to talk if he can stay awake. He said if he can stay awake long enough, he'll be on F and Hangout tonight.
Damn,
that's awesome.
But yeah, check out the stream because he did screen shares. He shared the imagery of what it is already.
Oh, well, Richard's going to come and give us grace us with his presence. I like it.
Amazing.
In a few hours, though, so we got some time.
A few hours.
Happy hour continues.
Happy hours continues. I would like him to restream some of this stuff, dude, because I think we are breaking through not just the crypto influencers, but the general financial market people. You know, again, I think we're making some serious inroads with Pulse as a point of the spear and Hex as the real monumental life changer.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Is you get them in with the blockchain narrative and then give them what they really need, a savings vehicle. I mean, it's not fun. It's like we've had a lot of fun with it for 18 months, or whatever now, but like, it's really, it's going to get a little, it can be boring, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Pulse can be exciting. There's going to be all sorts of insanity on Pulse, that's fine. That's where it can all exist. There's going to be a lot of things that are good about it, and there's going to be things on it that exist that, like, it's an open network, so people will do shitty things too. That's going to be there.
It's the same as Ethereum. I mean, again, Bitcoin has been a closed, walled-off garden for a long time as a network, and Ethereum has been the playground. And the playground has brought amazing things, and it's brought shitty things. And I think that us as Hexicans that convert into Pulsians, or basically synergize, or whatever it is with the two factions or communities, we can protect some of these guys to a degree. Ultimately, it is your own research. Ultimately, it is your own, am I going to play in this hourglass game? Am I going to believe these anonymous faces are going to build some shit in the future on the Pulse network? Am I going to, all the stuff that we saw before, it's still going to play out just like it did in Ethereum and things like that. So we're going to try our best as Hexicans to help people, but it is ultimately your sovereignty over your finance.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a nice way to look at it that like we've all been doing the right thing because it's been the only thing. Hex has basically been the only thing, and staking long and delaying gratification has been the right thing for us for the past year and a half. And so like now there is going to be a new playground and a lot more people playing on it, and we get to be the voices of reason in all of that and be like, oh, there's a lot of shiny objects here, but it also is cool, like saving your money. I don't know if you're down with that, but I am, so like that's
as he sits with $15,000 worth of luggage behind him in a watch. I like to save my money. Check out all my bags.
These are investments. Each one of these are unique pieces.
He has to carry his clothes on jets. I mean, what does he want him to do? Use a backpack?
That's right. These are like if you're buying Louis Vuitton bags, these aren't bags you're gonna check. These are like these are private jet fucking bags. These aren't
100%.
I mean, I don't even like the saving account because I've seen a couple Hexicans mention it with Hex and just calling it a saving account because it's so much more than that, right? Like it's a wealth builder. You grow your wealth. It's not just like you leave in the bank and you get a couple like 0.5%. Like you generate more yield with Hex. It's not a savings account. It's far better than that.
Savings accounts. I mean, it's just that's because honestly, Motley, that's you and I's like young narrative that we feel like that because like there was a time and place, Gary might remember it, where like there were savings accounts.
Low blow.
My face is melting from my old age.
Well, I'm just that like savings account used to pay you a reasonable return,
just like CDs used to.
Yeah, and CDs did too, and like that isn't in the game anymore. But like now it is again. And that's fantastic. So like that's as a savings account as it should be. A CD as it should be. That's. I mean, it's better than that. You're right. It is better than that. I mean, you don't get the number go up.
We don't have to jump to the topic that you had on screen, but
what is that?
This is the only silver.
Is this
this
silver?
Is the only silver I have left. Is like
that's the only silver you have left.
Yeah, I sold all my silver and gold before big payday. No, this is about a kilo. This is about a kilo. So if I sold this before big payday, whatever a kilo is worth of silver back, oh man, be pretty good.
So okay, so big payday. I sold that Corvette. I did all these other things as far as moving some actually other people's money, which was basically Bank of America and Wells Fargo and Chase business credit. So I did a lot of participation through leverage, and I had all that silver. And I would have had to break it like I did have to do, but break it out of concrete because it was fucking a zombie apocalypse, the Alamo kind of money. And then I was like, okay, finally, when my property is going through remodel, I was like, I got to break that shit out. And it happened, like I said, right after the Hex Vegas thing. But let's come back to this. On screen earlier, somebody had said the top 70 sacrificers on ETH for Pulse, not a lot of hexagons in it, no stakes. So again, sends donations you're not looking at, like Kurkowski just talked about. You're not looking at that. And then on the other side is I truthfully am waiting. I'm putting in big. I know Kurkowski and other people say I shouldn't do as much as I'm going to do, but I'm putting in big. But I'll tell you my honest staking strategy. My honest staking strategy is day 5. I'm probably during the flat part, the last part of the flat part, I'll put a third in of what I'm going to put in as far as my Hex number. If the dollar value goes up because Hex performs better, it's still the same number of Hex I'm going to put in. So I'm going to put in Hex. I have some Hex. I'm going to put it in, and it'll be 1/3. On like day, I forget what the number is, but like day 10.
3?
No, wait. Day 9 through 16, I'm putting in 1/9, effectively 1/3. But 6 days worth of 1/9. Just in case the price continues to move or whatever. So my second tranche of a third is over those days. And then my last third is on day 17, the last day, and see what happens. That's my shake of the dice. If you guys have feedback about that, like I think Motley probably wants to speak up, and tell me what your thoughts are.
So, I mean, my focus is going to be the volume phase, right? If you have a substantial amount of money, you really should be eyeballing most of the volume phase, just like the whales will be. Most of them are probably going to enter on that last day. So I have certain price points set in place for when to deploy capital at different levels, and most of that's probably going to take place on day 5. And I think you can even play it out a couple days after that. But like those later tier days, like you mentioned, the rate is awful, right? Like you're getting up to like 1.5 to 2x higher, which HEX could very well do to counteract that. But I mean, why take that chance when you can do it the volume phase? And we'll still probably reach some insane prices even on that last day of the volume phase. And then if I was to go out further, which I'm saving a little bit as powder keg, there's 3 days where you have a locked in multiplier of 1.75, which isn't great, but it's good for maybe some of the lower guys. And if HEX does something crazy, or Miguel has talked about this, a lot of whales, once they secure their top tier position, they're probably going to look at making a bunch of other multiple wallets to push other people down and get continued like high multipliers for numerous accounts. So that's something that could take place on the last day where you do see that crazy price appreciation, but you might as well lock in that extra 1.75 multiplier on top of it.
So when you say that, again, I kind of like you said, Gerardo, what's his name? Gerardo? Yeah, so I really like his content. I like his framing and things like that, obviously. And I try to pay attention to what your opinions are, what Crypto Coffee, what Look Into Crypto. When you guys do your nights kind of commentary, I try to, as much as I can, try to absorb all the amazing content that's going on constantly. Maybe I'm taking the dollar cost average kind of thing, because that's for me, that's 8 different contribution sets. You know, that's one in the 5th day, that's 6 different 1/9, and then it's 1/3 on the last day window. So maybe I'm going to get more of a mean, who knows? But I don't know what HEX's price is going to be. I think we have speculations. Is it going to be 25 cents? Is it going to be 2x from where it is? Is it going to be from right now? And does that counter the volume multiple? Does that, where does it do? If it is all on one address and you're breaking it up to like 6 or 7 different sacrifices during the window, doesn't that still equal the same volume, or am I misunderstanding?
So if you do it from different addresses, then
it's the same address. I'm doing it all from the same address.
Yeah. It'll all stack then. And then crab steak. So regardless of what you bring to the table, so let's say you're a smaller player and you don't have if you're very low and you're sacrificing maybe a couple $100 or $1,000, you're going to get next to no multiplier, because it's 2.5x all the way down to just a fraction above 1. So essentially you're not going to get any multiplier if you're a very, very low player, unless the last 3 days, regardless of what you sacrifice, you're going to get a locked in multiplier of 1.75. So it might be optimal game theory for you to take the chance of HEX doing at least a 2x after the volume phase and getting the additional 1.75 multiplier. So it's something to consider, especially if you're a smaller stack and you might not get a 1.75 multiplier and up, then it might be something for you to consider.
So again, I know that nobody wants to dilute their own strategy. Richard doesn't like to have people front run him either.
Yep.
But I'm trying to be out there and transparent about my thought process. So when you, Motley, I respect you highly, because you've done all of these different things and all these different coins, and you got every airdrop that's ever existed known to man. And so has Big Kurkowski.
Cool.
When you guys see affluence, it's not necessarily because we've sold down our HEX gains. I'm really pretty much a HEX maximalist and a Pulse maximalist and a Richard fucking big dick in the room maximalist. So I'm really just playing those games. I'm not doing these other things. So when you look at the whole market and the participants in the market, because you guys really have more of an eye on that, and you really play around in these different things too, just to buy fancy furniture and shit like that. But your HEX is your mainstay, right? So when you look at Pulse, I was talking the other day, I'm interested in sacrificing HEX, even though I love it as a product, so that I can get Pulse, so that I can push the PHEX price later. I got feedback from Kurkowski that maybe I shouldn't do that, because everybody's going to have Pulse. And when everybody has Pulse and they want PHEX, they're going to try and buy it. And it's not going to be that much available, because the AMMs aren't going to necessarily have more liquidity. So what are your thoughts when it comes to a sacrifice strategy, Motley? Do you have something that you can share without giving away your game?
Just giving out all the good stuff, are we? Yes.
Hey, I want this to be you need to retweet. Everybody needs to like this, and they need to retweet, and they need to dilute Motley's opportunity.
Damn, BK, you just
I
gave
love
away
this Gary.
everything, dude, Gary.
I love this Gary. I would go and party with this Gary any day of the week.
Yeah, see, Freddie wants the alpha too.
I have
Yes,
never seen.
I mean, look at the hex liquidity right now, right? You're looking at 75 million hex. That's nothing. Over 750 million in hex alone has been sacrificed. Like, when you go into the new PulseChain economy, most of those PRC20s are not going to work, right? Like, they need a third party to come in for them to actually serve their functions. There's very few tokens like hex that can fully work independently. So there's not going to be that much out there. So when those bags get dropped off and everyone's looking around for something good to go speculate and buy on, what's the main thing that everyone already knows is going to be a proven asset? It's going to be PHEX. So if the liquidity is the same when you go over there, you could the slippage. It's
not going to be the same though, because we already know that by the first contract function that Richard has said is going to happen is going to dilute.
So yes, there's going to be a soft launch where he goes and he changes the ratios for Ethereum because it's going to turn to Pulse to make sure you don't have a lopsided liquidity. But at the same time, there's also the question, which I still haven't seen fully answered, with the stable coins with Richard. What happens to that liquidity pool? Does that just get dumped into a Pulse and PHEX liquidity pool? If that's the case, then yes, there might be a much more substantial amount of hex liquidity out there than what there is on hex on Ethereum. That's what we don't know.
That's that third layer shit right there that people haven't, like, we're walking fully down the path.
You guys are welcome for all that. Since Gary wants to spill the beans on everything.
So the third layer of that, like, yes, there's going to be tiny amounts of liquidity in hex. There's already tiny amounts of liquidity, right? Compared to what we've seen over the years. And now there's going to be an event where some of that Pulse hex is pulled out and is more Pulse is stuffed on the other side to balance things out. So, like, how much? I mean, I don't know. Richard's mentioned some numbers. Some amount. I don't want to speculate on that. But so, like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 2% or 20% or whatever it is. There's now going to be less Pulse hex than there was on ETH hex's liquidity pools. Oh, and by the way, most of it's tied to a stable coin that's basically fucking worthless on the new chain. Okay, what happens now?
Yeah, I mean,
so that's a good point that we need to highlight later. But finish out your thought, Motley, about right now the AMM being paired to USDC and how that might shift in the future. But what were you saying?
Don't know. We don't know. And the last part of it is kind of like what you were speaking of. Like, honestly, the Pulse play, like, I'm giving up on my sacrifice. I'm giving up the superior product, right? Like, Hex will appreciate more than Pulse. Hex will do magnitudes better of Pulse. Maybe not in the immediate, but in the future, 100%. Pulse just will never do as well as Hex. I think that's almost 100% given. So me actually sacrificing for Hex, yes, it goes back to that political statement, but I believe so much in Hex. I want to be a C5, right, over in this new environment that we're going to be in, this new chain we're going to be in. I want to have the ability to be a C5 player and protect the bags that I care about, which is going to be PHEX over there. Just like I want Hex to do well on the Ethereum chain, I want PHEX to do well on the Pulse chain. So me, it's almost, it sounds weird, right? But it's almost like a selfless act, sacrificing your Hex, because you're giving up the superior product for what I think will not be as, it will still do very well, but it will not do as well as Hex. So I'm actually considering myself taking a loss right now, getting Pulse, but I do that to further what I really want to see succeed, which is going to be PHEX. I want to be able to protect that product on that new chain. So that's the only reason that I'm even sacrificing as much as I am right now into Pulse, is because I believe in Hex so much. I want to be a good guardian of it in the future, and sacrificing a lot now, a lot of economic mass now, gives me that ability to do.
That's exactly the mindset that I want, and I don't know the best strategy to be a good Hexagon.
Well, brothers of men over there, you guys are just doing the best for all of us, and I appreciate that so much. And you know what else?
I'm older.
Yeah,
I
wait. All of my PHEX bags that are coming. All my PHEX bags really appreciate everything you guys are doing for them. Thank you.
I have no children. I have no legacy that I necessarily care about as far as like my upstream family. And I just want Hexagons to take all my fucking gains.
I fucking love it, man. I'm fucking all about it, man. I am. This is me on board over here. You know, this is me very on board.
The truth is, nobody knows what's going to happen, right? We could see big, huge pumps this week.
I do.
And then
Hex
they
will
could
do better than Pulse.
Hex
Oh
will
yeah,
do better than
100%.
Pulse.
I mean, in the sacrifice though, like he's saying, what type of strategy should he have? It all depends on
It's
price
personal.
go up.
It's
Yes.
well, it's also personal. It's what you bring
in the
to
way
the
that you
table.
just framed it. It's very personal in the sense that, like, I really appreciate that take on it, because that's a good. I mean, it's a good way of putting it. And you know, it is actually next level thinking. You know, that's some whale thoughts right there. You know, so yeah. Great stuff. And like you're right, in this new ecosystem where something, I mean, that's walking my thought further down, that like you're in an ecosystem where the stable coin, the main player in the Ethereum ecosystem still is the US dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still is. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a big part of the Pulse ecosystem, but in this regard, out the gate, the thing that can push around the price of the asset that we care about the most is Pulse. There's not the dollar. I mean, the dollar in trend, through Ethereum, through a bridge to Pulse, through, it's Pulse.
It's likely
Pulse
that
is going to push first.
Yeah, Pulse is what, and if you're the person with the bottleneck on the massive amount of Pulse, then you get to choose when to push and when to let up. You know?
Is there any percentage, like on Hex, the fucking, who is it? The Poseidon, the Whale, the Super Shark, the whatever. That's a percentage of the total network.
T-shares.
Number of coins and T-shares. And then, so can you do any calculation about if it generates, $500 million? I don't know what it's going to do over the next 17 days, 16 days, 15 days, whatever. So maybe it goes 200 million. Maybe a lot of the load has been shot. I don't know, but it's like 180 million now or something, right? What is it?
Yeah, we're if you
we have
like
over 2 weeks left.
And like you count all those other blockchains and shit that like we can't actually get good numbers on right now, then we've got to be over pushing.
So is there any way, even with price appreciation, if Hex goes to 30 cents or something like that, and even with price appreciation, I'm putting a certain number of Hex coins in. But how can you calculate, like Big Kurkowski pointed out before, I think he was saying something like maybe privately that it was, what percentage of the network can you actually capture with your sacrifice?
You can do the math.
So, so how do you do the math? Show me how to do the math.
So, if you're going to inflate the supply of Ethereum by 10,000x, then we're going to have 10,001
at a minimum.
At a minimum, because we've already hit that now. Right, we've already hit the 10,000 ratio, so it will be more coins than just the number.
Then you're gonna have to. Then now we have more variables. So like the next variable you got to add in is like what your guess is to the end value. $500 million, $1 billion, what gets actually sacrificed. That's where you're gonna have to start, because then you could very easily calculate the amount of sacrifice points. It's not entirely very easily in the sense that you can say dollars times sacrifice points, per dollar equals X amount. But then you also have to calculate the difference in multipliers by the day. And then you have to calculate the difference in the multipliers by the whale addresses to the little guys. And so like all of that, those are some fucking variables. I mean, they're not difficult ones. You can put in some numbers and come out with some answers for that.
Yeah. The numbers I ran for myself right now, I potentially will come away with about 0.5% of the supply, which I'm pretty happy about.
Well, damn.
That's incredible.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Crypto, I guess that real estate play into Hex turned you pretty good.
It's working out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So like that's a good question on exactly how much of what percent of of the supply, you'll get, and you can, like I said, if you run the numbers, you can kind of get a range, of based, from you just put in the two variables, 200 to, I don't know, what's your upper limit, 2 billion or something.
Yeah, so mine could be like between about 0.4 to 0.55, give or take.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can calculate, I'm putting in X amount and getting how many points based on the total amount of points. This is how much of a percentage of the network I should have a piece of. That's relatively like calculable. Although I'm not going to do it on stream here. That's something that we could
already gave away a lot.
yeah.
Enjoy it. Use it.
Well, the thing is, again, this band of brothers kind of concept. I'm not saying that we're all going to be in step constantly as Hexicans, but obviously this is done really well. Richard's been a great leader. We have come together as entrepreneurs and we do our own investment strategy and plans. But, you know, part of this brotherhood of bringing, whether they're online streamers or whether they're in-person network or this HEX event that just happened in Las Vegas where you become more familiar, even if you get infected, so fuck you guys too, amazing, has been great for this community. The lockdown of 2020, the community growth, the camaraderie. So I can see, even though we're not necessarily whales, although somebody might be whales, us kind of like pushing the price of PHEX because we believe in PHEX. I believe in PHEX. The only reason I want to have Pulse, honestly, at this moment and hold it for 2 or 3 years is to defend, like Motley was saying, defend and promote the chart of PHEX.
Yep. PHEX could do $1 within a month after after PulseChain launches. PHEX could go through the absolute roof. Depending on liquidity and the economic mass that's in that space, and there's very few things to put your money into. Okay, so right now we're looking at, we might have somewhere between 500 million and potentially upwards almost of $1 billion entering the sacrifice phase. Where do you think most of that economic mass is going to go? If you look at HEX on Ethereum chain right now, how many millions does it take to push HEX over $1? Not that much. Was it like 30 something million? Like, it's really not that much. Now you have hundreds of millions of economic mass in PulseChain, and it's all going to dump into probably one product for the majority of it. What do you think is going to happen to the price of PHEX? It's going to be the largest green candle you've probably ever seen.
Yeah. And then that breaks through all the fog. That breaks through all the fog in the narrative of the BitBoys and the other people that were at least hesitant. Now they're warming to it. But you know, you want to talk about a news cycle that has a green dildo that's fucking through the roof. Yeah, it has high potential to bring our brand out.
Yeah. I never thought about that, Motley, about how people who have a lot of Pulse would just convert it into PHEX.
Yep.
And how much that's going to impact price. Jesus. Oh my God, that blows my mind just thinking about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And
yeah, and if it's a staker class that is not getting debased over time, yeah, it's phenomenal product, phenomenal leadership, phenomenal community. I mean, Richard says it, and people don't really hear it on the streams that he's on sometimes. We can't do better. I mean, it's just been home run design. It's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
I don't think you can sacrifice from Coinbase.
Don't do from an exchange.
Yeah. To have your own keys, put it on your own, whatever your wallet is. And I'm seeing people when they come out of their rungs, definitely step up their security. Get your shit on hard wallets. You know.
Yeah.
Cabana, can you highlight Bala's comment real quick? Yep. So ultimately, that's one of the biggest plays, right? Like just getting a copy of PHEX. And guess what? You get a copy of your PHEX, and you don't have to worry about slippage or anything else. It's a very good move, right?
And so, like EHEX, people are saying, "Oh, it might go down, might go down, might go down." I'm gonna keep buying EHEX too, man. Wherever the cheapest yield is, wherever the cheapest T shares are, I'm gonna be dumping money into it. So I see maybe it takes a dip at first, like people say, but I think EHEX is gonna hold its value better than people think.
Yeah, I agree because it's a shrinking pool. It's a shrinking supply. And the narrative and the meme of the fucking narcissist of the planet that's a genius is I want HEX rich, expensive everywhere. And I don't see it.
Exactly. We're all going to rush to the. That's the funny thing about this is we're all very excited.
Event, and you rush to go snag up cheap HEX on Ethereum. That's what's going to take place.
There's going to be there's going to be like this both two different big payday events happening on each chain simultaneously. That's like super unique. I mean, you can rush to get the EHEX, which everyone's going to want. And I bet some people sell PHEX, and I bet some people sell their EHEX to try and get it.
We should call it EHEX HEX, by the way. I like calling EHEX HEX on the Ethereum, and then I like to just the new HEX is just PHEX. We retain the branding of hex.com, right? Like we worked so hard to get $1 million 3-letter domain. As streamers, we should start promoting, call it HEX, and then we get PHEX. I want to start making that thing.
That's great. Yeah, I think that we should bring that awareness to the effing hangout tonight, and anybody tweets about HEX that it really is HEX, hex.com, 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 HEX, and then it's PHEX. I agree. That's perfect.
Yep, has anybody noticed the capitulation of the influencers?
100%.
Influencers
like crazy,
just because there ain't shit else to talk about.
Right.
Well, it's a
Literally.
combination of that and what we're doing right now, right?
Mooning,
When something's excelling this much and the rest of the market's dying, the juxtaposition of those two things, you can't ignore it at this point.
Yeah.
So funny. So I just did the quick look, and someone just recently registered ehex.com. So
Just in case to cover your bases.
yeah, if you're just trying to do that. Also, phex.com looks like a Asian version of like the back of the milk carton thing, you know. Find
So
the kids.
stick to hex.com and
Just stay on hex.com, guys.
Yep.
That's all you need. That's
Yep.
And I guess
Hex.com.
pulse.info is a pretty cool place if you're looking to, give some dough in a pot.
Yeah.
Spice it up.
How you doing, Joe?
Doing great, brother. How about you?
Awesome,
Hi,
man.
Joe.
20 minutes later, like, welcome. We've all been talking like a maniac, and then Joe's quiet,
Yeah.
good.
Meanwhile,
Jump
Cabana's in the private chat, like you're not going to be able to talk, Joe. Sorry.
It's just good to hang out with you fellas. It's great to see everybody. Thank you.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's good to
It's
see you too,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
learning a lot today from you, so thank you.
Going through chat here, there are a couple questions, and this is just pure speculation. But Dustin's, how much money do you think it would take to get 1% of the supply?
Do the math.
Well, that's
Do the
super
math.
easy. That's a super easy one in the sense that it's a little hard with like the timing of everything, but like let's just say we think $500 million gets put into the sacrifice. Then,
$5 million.
You need $5 million.
And,
for 1%.
And do you need that? And then you have to count what positioning you are in the multiplier. If you're going in the volume
Right.
phase too, then you gotta count how high in the rankings. And can someone give me, is it pulselead.xyz? Is that correct?
Yes.
For the
I think so,
leaderboard?
yeah.
Yeah, so pulselead.xyz, you can go on there, you can see the largest wallets thus far, position yourself appropriately, and you get an idea of your multiplier, and then you don't even need to necessarily sacrifice as much to get that positioning. So
Right.
Yeah, you can see where you're at, where you'll rank. Yeah,
Yep.
which I mean, I don't know if that has like the USD that's being sacrificed to sends, but it's going to be harder to beat it with the 75% cut.
And that's just the
25%
Ethereum.
cut.
That's only the Ethereum network.
yeah, of course.
There was one wallet yesterday that sacrificed, I think it was 31.5 million, which was
Holy
like
fuck.
$5 million.
Hex.
Yeah,
Hex.
Hex.
31 million hex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hex, yeah. And it
No,
broke down to like
$3
three. Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
But when I
that
did the
zero
math
x
on it, it was like
93 has been the top guy, and I think he did that in like two different buys.
Two different sacks.
Crazy.
I think he's out, or at least from
Yeah, that was
wallet.
everything that he had so far.
Yeah, he fired off both shots, and we haven't seen more since.
Which that's something else that like people have to think about too. Like I understand what Dustin was saying about like not a lot of hexagons in the top 100, but like there's also the consideration that a lot of people that are putting in large amounts of money may have created a fresh wallet.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
so like I mean that doesn't mean if you want to play the silver games and try and track them down, you might be able to, but if it came from an exchange, like that's then you're done there.
More whales are coming the closer we get to the end of the volume phase, just straight up. Like that's how it's going to go down.
Well, that's what I was saying is about my tranches. If I'm going to try and hedge, and I'm, hindsight's going to be 2020. You should have done this. You should have done that. But you don't think I should be spreading it over a third on the fifth day, six
Well, the
little
real
tranches,
question-
and then a big one.
The question that I
I
gotta
didn't like
have
your
you
late
ask
days.
yourself, the question you got to ask yourself is, do you think all those whales already bought the hex that they plan on putting in, or do you think they're going to buy? This is the Elon Musk, thing here, because if they've already bought, then like this might be your best chance to put in, but if they're going to buy more, then you might have a good opportunity later to get more for your.
It's a game, right? You're going to have whales that are going to try to sell down the hex price, and then you have whales that have millions of dollars in USDC allocations that are going to buy that cheap hex up, and then they're going to turn around and sacrifice that hex on top of it. So you'll literally see these last couple of days just whales splashing back and forth, competing against each other between selling down and buying up using their different allocations of assets they have. And it's gonna be wild. Like the prices are gonna go absolutely bonkers, up, down. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah. So I'm not a whale. I'm putting in money that's life-changing for a lot of people, but I'm not a whale, and I don't know the best strategy.
Someone made a comment in one of the streams that Richard was on saying, "I'm gonna DCA," and he laughed at it. He was like, he specifically said it's best to be in early, and on the AA he said it was best to DCA, which I didn't do. And
but that's the 2.5%. That's the 2.5 volume, and if you're not
no
a whale guy,
those first 5 days. If you have a big stack and there's no rate of change those first 5 days, DCAing makes more sense. And then like for me, it's gonna be price point DCAing. So it's not even I'm not even worrying about DCAing over the days right now. It's price points that need to be met before I DCA.
Mine's a hybrid of like that, Motley, too. I have
Yeah, it can be a hybrid between day and price points.
Yeah, I switch back and forth.
Yep.
So what is your best get as far as a percentage of your, what do you think your odds or likelihood probability that the last hour is the high price, that the last hour is the whales pushing shit?
The last 15 minutes, yeah.
The last 15 minutes for a twat. Yeah.
You know, I want to
It
play.
almost seems too easy.
If we're just here, just like breaking it all out, like here we go. You know, just like why not? So
hey, we're trying to build Cabana's channel to have 100,000 followers. How else are they going to do it unless they know the shit we already did?
I'll give you some good conspiracy theory shit for everybody. I mean, what if somebody wanted to be the number one address or the top address, and they have a lot of HEX, like 1 billion or more, you know? And what if they put in at the price they want to put in towards at a certain time, day 3, 4, wherever they decide, and when they decide the rug is going to be pulled, they are going to dump. They only have to put in right now 100 million of those billion HEX that they could be sitting on, and they would be the number one in the chart. And then they could mercilessly murder the price of HEX for the next 14, 13 days and make it so that nobody else could ever come up to their wallet status with the rest of their coins. That is a possibility. I'm not.
I got a counterpoint for it, Big K. I think only the OA would do that, or we'd have the OA to protect from that, right?
But we do have other people that are not OA.
Other people that have like billion plus
coins.
Liquid bags. You know, I mean, we see them in out there. There's not many. It's not like a ton of them or anything, but like they could. And like, could the market also eat up 900 million HEX and you know, yeah, it'd be the last chance. It'd be like one more adoption amplifier day. That's all that would be worth, basically. So like, could we eat it up pretty quick? Sure. But that could be. I mean, I'm just like, if I'm given all the you know, possibilities for everything out, that's like, I honestly don't think that happens. But like, I got a bear and bullet, you know, for everybody.
Like one whale wants to leave the system, so it's just out. Like it had 100.
Well, he doesn't want to leave the system. He wants to make sure that nobody else surpasses him, and he gets that 2.5 multiplier. And by mercilessly,
but the OA at the last moments is just going to bring the HEX over. You know what I mean? It's going to become the Pulse OA. So you can't.
Don't rely on the OA to do anything. Honestly, it could be, it could not.
I'll take a healthy wager.
It's a very interesting proposal.
I'm not going to bet on it. I'm just saying.
That's a fair. You got to also specify that a little bit further too, because like there's the origin address, like the actual address and all the address it's sent to, and then there's also a caveat of like
associated accounts
of associate. There's like 37% that are the benevolent whale addresses.
You tornado in and you tornado out. You know?
So those benevolent whale addresses that are out there, I think they could make moves, sure, but I don't believe that the origin address and its cohorts will make any moves. But I mean, they don't have to, because 37% of, if those benevolent whales do hold 30+%, then like that's more than enough to.
You don't think the OA wants the 2.5x multiplier?
Well, think of it this way, guys.
I don't think it needs it. I think that those other benevolent whales that the OA
they going to crash?
Has a strong control, a strong ear to, you know, will do that.
Basically, what you're saying is that someone could come down. What you're saying is that one person's trading being a whale in HEX to being a whale in Pulse instead. Murder the price, bring everybody down, and then if we gobble it up and we gobble it up at 2 cents or whatever it might be or whatever, we become the whales instead of the super whale. Right?
Why would they crash the price of HEX just to get a 2x on Pulse?
That's like I said, my thought on it was that a whale would do that because they wanted to be you're right about that. Why would they crash the price of HEX for 2x in Pulse? Maybe they want to cash out a lot of money in the process too. I mean,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we know people that don't stake, and I don't know if it's for benevolence to the staker class to give us a higher APY, but we know people that have billion coins and don't stake. And I've had that fear factor too that I've expressed in the past about murdering the price for years by having like some 20x or whatever because they just are a volume in this Pulse launch. So I've had that kind of fear factor myself. I hope that that doesn't play out. I really don't think it would be as far as a FUD point. I think that we have enough enthusiasm in the community to become, effectively super whales or whatever in HEX, because ultimately that's the game that I want to play. I'm only doing Pulse because I want to, and I'm only doing Pulse, like Motley said, to defend and push up the chart if I can with Pulse, because dollars don't do it right now. In the first few months, Pulse is going to push the price.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Either way.
Settled.
Either way. So real quick, price predictions. Can we do that?
$100.
No, I love it.
Time frame.
Price predictions when? Yeah,
nailed
let's
it.
finish the question.
We'll do end of launch, and then we'll do. So is the mainnet launching right as soon as the sacrifice ends?
We don't know.
No,
Probably
I don't
not.
believe so. I think that we're going to have a test net first. You're going to have like at least a month or maybe 2 weeks or so of so I'm hoping Richard is ready to go with a public test. They have a private test net running, so we know stuff's like there's blocks being blocked, but I'd like to be a part of that too. It'd be cool to see that running. And then once we see a public test net running for 2, maybe 4 weeks, I don't think we'll get much more than that, because we'd rather have people. I think we'd rather go faster, because the longer there's a public test net open, the more time people have to.
Yeah.
Gamify.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So let's do day 5. Let's do end of sacrifice, and then
Freddie wants
at mainnet launch.
Freddie's one of those guys that wants everything spoon fed. All right, I need day 5. I need this. I need that.
Well, I mean, I
Hey,
made predictions 2 weeks
and
ago,
I'll
and
second
they're
that
on
motion.
point right now.
I want
It's tough.
I want the experts to comment, because I'll second Freddie's motion. Can you guys just reveal all your cards?
Right.
I
okay.
defer.
Thank you. This is the Gary I will party with any day of the week. If I've got a hype man behind me and we're out somewhere, it's gonna be trouble, man. We need attorneys.
Hey,
we need
man.
people to bail us out.
I'm going to Kiev in October. I've got 3,000 really hot girls that are going to get distilled down to 300. It's going to be part of a pageant. We're going to be punching through on multiple channels.
You
So
need
there's
a
a
judge?
lot of shit that's happening, dude. You want to party? Reach out.
Don't let my wife find out about that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Bachelors or pseudo bachelors only.
If you need a judge, though, I got you, bro.
Unfortunately, I think Crypto Coffee might have to have a duke out with you to fight with that, because he might be going.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he? Cool. Good stuff. Well, a couple weeks ago, I said we'd see 25 cents within 3 days of sacrifice launch. We're 2 days in, and we peaked up to 22 yesterday. So we have until tomorrow to hit that target. I said we'd see $1 by the end of sacrifice, and I said we'd see $3 to $4 within 3 weeks of mainnet launch.
I still
I'm
think
sticking by
that a
those
lot of
numbers.
people can't handle the gains. And so they can't handle the gains, and they are selling into whatever the position might be. But I'm sticking with, by the end of sacrifice, I don't know where it'll play out as far as volatility of wicks. But I think by the end of sacrifice, we'll be in 40-cent territory.
That was what I was going to say. I was going to yell it out.
That's
Too. I was
awesome.
going to be like 40 cents. Because 40
That's
cents.
awesome.
41.
You
So
guys think
sustain.
it'll stay there? That's what you're saying, Gary? It'll stay
Sustain,
there?
yeah.
40
I think
cents?
there will be a big dip. I think it'll come down pretty significantly right after the sacrifice, and there's not inspiration to buy HEX. And I think people might be trying to take some of their casino money back off the table kind of quickly.
What about for the snapshot? You got people buying up for the snapshot.
For the snapshot. Oh, so you mean buying it again for the snapshot?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, is if people are
You
going to
think
play
he's
this
gonna tell
volatility of psychology,
Yeah,
this
he has
market
to.
sentiment psychology.
It'll be a
then-
battle back and forth between the two, but there will
Right.
be
Well, here's
a lot
the
of buys for it.
thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. And we're not like, just because we're amazing and we have the best product and we have the best everything, it's all true. But we are also victim to the same laws of physics, and so in that there is always a buy the rumor, sell the news, anything. And you want to look for the date that is the news actual date? What is happening that might be a thing that might change the other things, right? So like, what is that? Is it the mainnet, or is it testnet being launched? Is it even the mainnet being launched? No, that's not it. The date that you're worried about, the one that you want to look towards,
Snapshot.
Bingo, you hit the nail on the head. Everything changes after that, because like you get something after that that you didn't have before, you know? And so like, if you know, I mean, like I'm over here, Richard's like, we'll announce the snapshot date whenever. I'm like, you know, there's a small part of me that's like, hey, Richard, just don't even announce it. Just don't even tell. Go straight like 1 inch or uni style, and just don't even announce it. Because if you tell people when that day is, then you give them a date to like, that's on this date I sell. You know, that's just
I don't think he announces it. You will be able to tell when it's taken after, you know, everything launches, but I mean, he's not going to announce it.
And that's the thing is, so you'll have a time period. If you know that like between Sacrifice ending and mainnet launching, somewhere in there it has to be taken. But if you don't tell people, then like everyone, there's a lot of people who won't even put that date on their calendar, and there's some people who will weigh it out carefully, or some people, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people that have to guess, you know, and I'd rather them guess than know when they can do that. Like I think that it'd be. Because, you know, once mainnet launches, sure, everyone will know, but like then the rush is on. You know, the rush is on for the HEX and whatever other garbage tokens you want to go running for. And that's fine. I'd rather the rush be on then, because then it's a lot harder for them to sell their HEX, move their economic mass over to the other chain, and then buy the thing that you might be wanting to buy. You know, that's more steps than, you know.
So if this price, you know, hits a certain point, all the chartists, if they even are aware of why the price is doing what it's doing. I see all kinds of people that say, here's the TA. I don't know what the project's about, but maybe it's going to be linked to Bitcoin and it's going to go down. I saw people streaming bullshit that they don't even know. They're optimistic, but they don't know why they're optimistic, because they don't know what the game is. And so if you think that we hit a high point because of the sacrifice, whatever that high point is, that high tide mark, and then if you think that there's going to be a sell down after because there's not inspiration to buy HEX to participate in the sacrifice, don't you think that announcing an actual airdrop date, like Motley said, pushes the price right back up and beyond that previous high water mark?
Yeah,
you don't think that announcing it is a good point, because people say it did it before, why wouldn't it do it again?
I mean, I like that narrative. You know, you're making me think, Gary. You're making me think over here. You know, that's a good thought. You know, I mean, it's possible. It's very possible. If we are onboarding people, if like the hashtag pre-viral friggin' Twitter march is truly true, and we hit some sort of, you know, really, you can start to feel it. You can start to feel it. You go check the addresses today. There's more stakers today than there was yesterday, and a higher number than there has been, you know, and previously. People are, you know. You make a good point. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, it's hard to
surge, and then I think it's dip, and then I think it's bigger surge. That's my thought. As far if he announces an airdrop versus not announcing the airdrop snapshot.
There's still got to be some the event that some people that are ready. There's always a good percentage of people that are ready to just leave tomorrow. You know, of everything, of all of this. I mean, I've talked to people recently that I'm like, I only reached out to them because Pulse is launching. And I was like, yo, this is happening. I'm going to figure everything out. Let's jump on some Zooms. And I get to them and they're like, yo, tell me how to sell.
You can't handle the game. They're like, I've got to get into something else. Yeah.
Excuse me?
I got to go. I got to go real quick, guys. So I'll talk to you guys later.
See you, Motley.
Yeah. Peace, guys.
Yeah, I got to ditch out in like maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, I should probably get out of here soon. Let's call it at like the 7 o'clock moment.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean that's happening. I'm seeing that like there's always some people that are like, yo, no, I gotta buy this thing, you know, and they'll even tell me the thing like I'm starting a business with this, and I'm like, I hope you really like what you're doing, because you could just not do that and instead just stay with this.
Just hold the coin.
You probably do better.
Hold the coin. Richard points it out. I mean, you start a bit. I mean, I'm going to do this real estate play. I'm going to lose some opportunity of like 4 months of being liquid in cash to go into real estate, to refinance, cash out, refinance once it's operational. And it is part of the opportunity cost that Motley pointed out. You know, I'm doing certain things in Pulse because I want to do this thing for the tragedy of the commons. I'm doing certain things in real estate because I know how to leverage and get that equity back out and then stake it just out for more time to make up for my lost window of 4 months. That's the play I'm trying to run.
No, I like that play. I think that's there's reasonable ways to move your money around all different ways. And like, you know, if you have like, it's just like anything else, when you're talking about credit builds, if you can return the money in a reasonable time, even though there's interest on it, you're still going to do great, you know? So like, I mean, you just have to have a good plan and be able to execute, you know? So like, I mean, I think that's, not faulting anybody. And, you know, I spent my time explaining to them in the middle of the sacrifice, in the middle of trying to help a million other fucking people, how to move their money over to Coinbase so they can get their gains and enjoy themselves. So that's cool. I'm tight with that. My one buddy actually thought he was going to do it on his own and switched his HEX into CUSDC and then sent it over to Coinbase. I was like, dog, you're going to enjoy an email chain and mile long for that. They don't have that coin.
Yeah.
So, you know, long story short, don't sell your HEX.
Don't sell your HEX. Don't sell your HEX. I don't want Hexicans that come to the academy. If we do this baller house, it's going to be HEX art. It's going to be like, you know, like Andy Warhol kind of Miami place. It's going to have baller cars. You don't have to sell down your HEX to get the lifestyle that you want on Instagram and to get the girls that you want. I mean, honestly, 22 to 35-year-old single-ish guys, that's what they're going to spend their shit on. That's what they did in Bitcoin. That's what they did in Ethereum. That's what they did in their and if they were youngish, that's what they did with their Silicon Valley gains. That's what they do. And they are lifestyle, and we are all status-seeking people, whether it's degenerative or whatever, but that's the ADD culture we live in right now in America. And so all the 35 to 55-year-old guys that want to be owners, you can be an owner of a cash flow machine. And that's what I want to do. I want to do it both for Hexicans to understand their legal liabilities, to not have the athlete or the celebrity get sued, you know, because those guys come into new money too, and then they lose it all. Fucking windfall people that, you know, they got a lottery ticket, they lose it all. And I don't want you guys to lose it all. I don't want you to have sell down pressure. That's my goal.
What about this interesting little comment here? The highest price could already be in if a competitive whale wanted to.
Yeah, I saw Pete, etc., make that comment earlier about, you know, they don't have to murder the price. They could just set it up to keep the price sideways. That's true. It's true. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that stops that is a bigger whale coming along. And
there are a couple big wallets buying actively. And they could be. You know, that's what's really interesting to me is how those act going forward, because it was 50 ETH and then 100 ETH and then 250. And, you know, we saw like 1,000 like on its way in the other day. Maybe it hit yesterday. So it's like, you know, how much defending, you know, of those levels, because once these whales,
this isn't a defense. It's an attack. You know, I mean,
however you want to see it, you know, the Empire could be the good guys in Star Wars if you want to look at it.
Yeah, right, there's actually a narrative about that. They were the good guys.
Great.
But yeah.
Rebels were assholes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. We dig deep here on the happy hour. Yeah, Godwell hasn't entered Sacrifice yet.
Right.
But he is buying more HEX.
But honestly, a lot of Hexicans have not, and there's reasoning. The reasoning to me is the flat part of the curve. Why would I do it now? The reasoning for me is mid-tranche, maybe the price appreciates. I mean, the reasoning for me is in play, let's see what kind of shenanigans whales splash around in. I don't know if that's a good play. I don't know that I'm absolutely sold on it as my investment strategy. That's why I'm trying to get feedback. And then you got to be a contrarian, even if you get feedback. It's like, what the fuck do I do?
It's tough. I mean, like, and that's the thing is then we come out here and give it all to the people here, and then now I'm like, okay, back to the old drawing board.
Nobody's complaining about narrative getting out there. You know, whatever works in the fun.
No, and that's the thing is that it's. I mean, you got to really we're not that special. I mean, other people have all these thoughts too. I mean, lots of people are if you're putting in lots of money, which people clearly are, then you sat down and thought about this long and hard, or else you're just a degenerate gambler. I'm sure there's some of those too. I mean, from time to time, I might find myself in that category, but I mean, I thought long and hard about this, and I'm sure a lot of people have too. So, I mean, there's people have these,
Yeah.
So what's your price prediction, Big K, for launch of mainnet for HEX?
For what? Hex? Yeah.
HEX.
HEX or PHEX?
Both.
Okay. I think that usually when something splits, when it's a $10 coin, you don't get 3 and 7, you get like 4 and 8. There's always a little bit more value there because you're actually creating like two really unique. Now that's what's happened Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin SV, even like all those splits, there's been more value there. Now this is a different split because when you split, this is not as contentious as those. So there's not actually two communities that are necessarily created. There's like one community that's happily migrating to a different system, but also still likes this other system too. So like I do think that I think that because of that narrative that we could actually see more value overall between the two. So like, I mean, I said 41 cents for the end of Sacrifice. So I could see if we go in it's still pretty hot, and we come in at 40 some odd cents and split, then one could be the EHEX could hit a low around, I don't know, as low as 3 cents, 4 cents, and the PHEX could hit a high as, again, 40 cents, 50 cents, it could be more. Yeah. So, I mean, like it's a unique dynamic to like try and guess entirely. But I mean, those are also like, we've seen these events in HEX where they're like these spike events. Like, I mean, Big Payday was instantaneously eaten back up. And, so like, I don't expect either of the prices to like exist at the peaks or valleys for very, very long. Like if like what I said entices you at all, then like get your trigger finger ready, man, and get ready to hold it there for a long time, wait for that moment, because or put in some orders or whatever, but I mean, those are brief moments in time.
So not close to $1. Okay. Big K's bearish, everybody. You heard it here first.
I mean, I think that we hit $1 by the end of the year. I think that maybe even a lot sooner than that. And I love to see it. I love to see that us go that high, and maybe we do. I mean, and I've been entirely wrong. Every one of my predictions in previous times when you look at it, it was bearishly wrong, so
all good.
So like, that's great. That's a great. I mean, I think that I'm starting pretty good if I'm bearishly wrong usually.
Yeah, I like it. 40 cents is awesome.
Yeah, 40, and then like I said, we could be between 50 and like between the combined prices, 52 cents or something like that after launch.
That's less than a 3x from where we are right now. Let me check.
Yeah.
And the narrative that punches through the fact that it's not that far from being Ethereum's market cap. The thing that punches through is if it's tip of the spear is Pulse, or if the tag along is HEX, or whatever the narrative is, Richard Hart is going to be invited on a lot of these influencer things because they don't have shit else to talk about. They do not have anything else to talk about during the bear. Yeah.
That's why we're starting to see capitulation in the influencers. But it's going to be awesome. More are going to come, and more people are going to be in, and more people are going to be pissed that they weren't told about this earlier. And that's another factor like we're not even considering. Motley made a really good point about how all of the hexagons who are going in and aping in and getting all this Pulse will likely use it to buy up PHEX.
Yeah,
I think that alone. I think the hexagons alone could pump. Are you going to keep any Pulse, Gary?
As a defend the moat, maybe a third. I won't go in all guns blazing initially, but I want to participate in the chart climb. The chart's going to climb because people want PHEX.
Smart. Yeah. I never even thought of that factor. My mentality this whole time has been like, I'm going to sacrifice, but I really am not expecting anything from the Pulse. Like, even if it's just 0 and it stays 0, I contributed to the community. Like, that's how I'm going at it. That's how I'm looking at it. Mm-hmm. But then when Motley said converting it into HEX, I was like, oh my God, that blew my mind, man. So that's
well, and you see the people
awesome.
People like, what's cool about HEX is sometimes when you give away this alpha shit, like Motley said, like, everybody fucking listens. We've been listening to Richard and buying, and like now look at us now. So like You know,
Yep.
because of that shit, people listen to people who have intelligent plays. And so when Motley's like, yo, if we all buy HEX, then our bags get pumped. If Richard explains that one offhandedly, that there's some value to that and we all run with it, then like we all see that. We all just saw that over the past 3 days. We felt it straight up. People that invested and put in their HEX to sacrifice over the past 3 days got way more value than they would have if they sat on their USDC, period. End of story. There's no question.
Well, like Richard said in that one interview too, Galaxy Brain, and I've brought this up 3 or 4 times on the stream before, is that what if whoever's in charge of the sacrifice doesn't like all the rest of those coins? How much has been sacrificed outside of HEX? Do we know?
Sure.
Does anyone have that number?
There's a lot of numbers inside of the Ethereum address.
In there, I mean, if you tell that Ethereum address, so like you can do quick maths here that there's 168 million sitting in that address right now, and 124 of it is HEX. You know, so
40 million is not.
40 million is not exactly 44 million non-HEX related.
And that's nothing. That's none of the sends. That's none of the other coins.
And let's also be realistic. That's not actually all that. You have to go to that website that we mentioned. What is it called? Richard tweeted it to get the actual numbers, because that 168 million includes like a bunch of doo-doo Shiba Inu and
right.
stuff.
That's what I'm saying though.
Like,
so
you know,
that 40 million,
less.
that 40 million, if HEX is purchased with that 40 million, if those shit coins are dumped and you buy HEX with it, that pumps HEX to $1 with just that.
You're right. You're 100% right. Hey, people, you idiots! Why did you use it? Why didn't you turn your Shiba Inu into HEX? You like eat for brains. Whoever put that in there is like same thing with this.
But who's to say that doesn't happen anyway? Again, it's speculative.
Right.
Don't expect anything out of the fucking
but
address that receives it.
But Freddie's right that like if everybody that's here, like I mean, I'm looking at 40. Yeah, you're right. $44 million worth of tokens that are not HEX, and like again, it's not all that, but like I'm looking at the ones that are like everything past the top ones, you know, and there's a crap ton, 6,000, 8,000, 5,000, 5,000, thousands of dollars of wrongly sent in money. Like, for the love of everything, why didn't you just put that into HEX?
They might have made a taxable event.
You
for
know
themselves.
that whoever it is does not want to sell down HEX in order to get economic energy.
I think whoever did are just idiots. They got to be just.
But what I'm saying is, whoever receives that address and uses it, they're not going to sell down their HEX holdings. Why would they? When they have 40, it's the same. It's the same story with the AA. You had Ethereum that could be sold instead of HEX. You with a billion HEX OA kind of control whatever was going on back then, and then you can sell down the Ethereum. Wouldn't you want to sell down the Ethereum, not the other thing? And then the same thing here with the Shibu fucking whatever tokens and shit like that. These people are getting out of a network that they see declining on the crypto market cap. They see the bear of their coin value going down. My friend Kenman was just saying, hey, it was worth 90 grand of his previous crypto holdings. He's like, I got to get into HEX when it's like 45,000 left in my economic energy of crypto just to get into something that's performing. So if you have $40 million worth of shitcoin or whatever the other coins are that are not HEX, don't you think that if HEX can be $1 each, don't you think that there's possibility that if not whale, if not pleb, fucking performance by somebody that has economic energy?
If you're a Hexican and you hold HEX and you sacrifice something without converting it to HEX first, you cost yourself money.
Yeah, you're hurting your own bags. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm fine with whoever owns this sacrifice address selling all the coins that they said could be sacrificed to them. You know, all the ones that like these legit will. But like, what I'd really like for them is to be really cool of them is to take all the rest of those ones and just dump them into HEX first.
Dump them into HEX, then wait a day, 2 days, see if there's any price performance, and then put it into the sacrifice. That's exactly right. Not financial advice. No. It's just what I'm going to tell my brother that I don't have my imaginary friend sitting over here.
We should also tell everybody that is a taxable event, right? So
what is converting?
Yeah,
Converting is right now. Maybe that. I mean, I don't know if there's that many sophistication. I don't know if the degenerates are basically really thinking about their tax structure. I've been in this shit for a long time.
I'm talking to the people that aren't. Maybe the people that are just hearing that and don't realize that. Like, you know, you just want to make sure that you're not. If you are doing this and it makes sense to you, and as long as you're aware of it, then you go for it and you do it. But don't be surprised that you create a taxable event and then later not prepared for it.
True.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that taxable event or not, it's still better to be taxed on money you get something for than to just send it into the fucking
course.
ether.
Yeah.
As long as you're not surprised by a bill.
If you take $1 and you turn it into $2 and then you pay 30 cents in tax, you made it up.
Well,
you made
it's a
70
lot
cents.
better than lighting it on fire. That's for sure. I mean, I feel like they already lit it on fire by investing in Shiba Million. What is this called?
Million token. Everybody's talking about fucking million token.
Yeah, there's bots
Never even heard
everywhere
of it.
botting us up all over the place with that crap.
Yeah. Even people like Andre Jek or whatever is talking about the million token thing. So it just becomes a meme of the week, and it's a pump and dump.
Yeah, I mean, anything. It's just when the name sounds like that. I mean, we used to know a group called Team Fun, and let me tell you, they weren't very fun. I don't think you're going to make $1 million with million token. I just don't think that's.
So I've got
financial advice.
I've got 2 minutes to 7. I don't know if you guys are going to carry beyond 7, but I really do have to go.
No, yeah, I gotta make a move too. Actually, so that's probably.
You're silent.
You're muted.
Cabana.
Okay, let's wrap it up here. That's a good time, and that's a nice short show for me. Shill ourselves because Kirk, you got a lot going on. I know Funding Jim has a ton coming up, and we'll just go around the room real quick before we go. Kirk, go.
Big Kurkowski on Twitter, on Telegram. When Pulse goes live, when the actual network's live, we'll start doing bingo arts again. You can come and get yourself some Pulse, donate to some charity, be a part of that. Every one of you, I hope you all come on and pick a charity and call it some bingo numbers. Other than that, that's where you can find me.
Excellent. If you go to Google and you put in the word Funding Gym, basically the top page, all of the first page is Funding Gym. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, I'm on everything. So find me on there. If you want to direct message me, I'll have to say this. My direct message on Telegram is blowing up. If I can't get to you very quickly, I'm sorry. If I know you and recognize you out of the list, then I'm going to reach out to you immediately. But right now, I'm in the process of converting property that's in California into taxable 1031 exchange. I'm building an academy, which is like going to be a $5 million baller place with Lambos and Ferraris that you guys don't have to spend your lifestyle, spend your HEX or your Pulse to have the lifestyle. And it's going to be an academy. It's going to be basically education during the day that is your LLC and your formation of your trust and your CPA and your lawyer so that you young, rich motherfuckers don't lose your money. And have the lifestyle access. That's exactly what Miami is going to be. That's what maybe Puerto Rico is going to be, and other sites as we determine according to our LLC formation. So if you want to be an owner, look at my channel on YouTube, find the recent streams that I've done, and put your information. If again, do your own sensitivity about your own privacy, but it is a Google form, and let me know. And if I know who you are and the community agrees, then we can potentially buy real estate and roll you back into HEX. Probably 4 months after a purchase.
Nice. Joe Hexotic.
Thank you. That sounds awesome, Gary.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you, Gary.
Good.
Joe Hexotic, XO Joe, back in the flow. I mean, you got a couple different shows. I saw you on this week. What you got going on? Where can we find you?
Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be going on with Experience, Strength, and Hope with Toby Wan Hexobi this week. So before that, I'm probably pop on Discourse Syndicate tonight a little bit and then see what else is going on this weekend. So thank you, everybody. If you want to check out a little bit more what I do, it's xojo.io is the website. And on Twitter, I'm xojo7. Thank you, everybody.
Nice.
Awesome.
Freddie Quotes, the Hexkin anthem has blowed up, and I think you might have some new material along the way. You teased it a little bit ago, but you can tease it again, and anything else you'd like.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got a couple tracks I'm working on right now. Work has been crazy busy. Just got back from vacation, so life has been kind of hectic. I do plan on dumping some time into music here in the next week or two. Hopefully get this track finished up and then recorded. But real quick, Joe, man, this is the first time I've been on stream with you since you've come back into the fold or whatever, man. I'm so proud of you, bro. To see where you
so
are
much,
and
bro.
where you came from, dog. Like it's so fucking awesome, man. Like your energy, like Gary, man, like your energy is up. You look good on stream. Like you're there, bro. You're hitting. You could tell you're firing on all cylinders. I don't know if you got probed Like
I was
Gary,
say, did
but-
you get the virus?
Try
No.
Did you talk to aliens?
It fucking lights you up with LEDs, man. It's fucking awesome.
I would take it. Though,
I
if
got
can
a
come out
party with
firing like
Gary.
that.
God, I got a party with
Gary's
Gary.
been on fire.
He has been, man. This is the best stream I've ever seen with Gary, and I love it. It's so cool, man. I hope this energy stays around for the both of you. But everyone
Thank
can
you,
find me
Freddie.
at on Twitter. I am Freddie Quotes. IEFREDDIE Quotes. And then other places, SoundCloud, whatever. I'm mostly just on Twitter, but yeah, that's where you find me.
Awesome,
Nice.
guys.
I want everybody to punch through on brand. I'm really trying to get you guys in front of financial influencers that are outside the crypto space. Definitely reach out. I think that this is going to be the most amazing 2 years of your life, at least. Just the excitement and the community and the drive is phenomenal. You're in the right place if you're watching this stream.
Yeah, we're such a small community, and we have such an ability to punch to like you said through to like much higher, larger groups, and we all have a lot to offer. So yeah, if you have a chance to build yourself and in your brand and everything else about this is a great chance to do it.
Yeah, what Gary just said reminded me too. I talked about a hedge fund manager stream this week that did not happen. It's set to happen next week on Thursday, 5 p.m.
Nice.
I believe Gary will be on with that and a few of your other favorite Hexkins. So can't wait for that. I'll promote it, of course, when we get full confirmation, because I was waiting on full confirmation, didn't get it. So glad we didn't fully promote it, but the schedule link is up anyway if you want to bookmark it and set your notifications. So hopefully that comes to fruition. And yeah, it's about all I got. Thank you so much. We had like a ton of viewership for a 19-day live stream going on the old DS network. For as many of you that watched this stream, it was like our normal audience or more. So that was just awesome. We have like a very dedicated set bunch that just like loves happy hour. Like that's your vibe. That's kind of like why we made this thing. And we're going to look forward to keep it going. And of course, all the other streamers that provide so much value technically with, price and game theory and all that stuff. So just it's going to be a ride and so much content. And I think, for the next 2+ weeks, especially. So looking forward to see you next week. I'll be my more energetic self. I hope to be like fully back and ready to go. So
you're going to be supercharged.
I want to be like that guy over there.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want that
Hell yeah.
serum. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I
we'll
gotta
see you
ditch,
next
guys.
week.
I got to
Thanks,
ditch.
guys.
Later, man.